Okay, hello everybody. Today we're here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in JPLogistics Cessna 152. We have an 88 nautical mile flight from 4 Bravo 8 Robertson Field to Mike Tango Papa Montauk Airport. We'll be flying with real weather as always, and the weather's been terrible this week, but finally we've got clear skies. We're flying VFR and we've got a water crossing to do as part of our journey. Should be an awesome flight, so let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. Alright, we are parked here at Robertson Field, which is an awesome freeware airport. We've got the JPLogistics mod, which gives us things like windows that you can open and baggage that you can put in the back. So let's get everything started up here on the C152. So we'll get our parking brakes set, verify that all of our switches are off. The mixture is to idle cutoff, carb beats in, throttle is to idle. We'll set our trim to takeoff. We'll look down here and get the fuel shutoff valve turned on. Now we'll take a look at the prop area, make sure everything's clear. Head back down here and get the battery and the master on along with the beacon. Check the fuel quantity left, right, and we've got full fuel tanks, which looks good. Clear prop. Now we'll head back down here and we're going to bring the mixture into full rich, crack the throttle and prime it. It's pretty cold out, so let's do 4 strokes on the primer. Feeder on the brakes. Got the keys in the ignition, mag to both, and start. We've got a good start. We've got oil pressure here, that looks good. RPMs are at 1,000. Now we'll lean the mixture for ground operations. There we go. Get our taxi light on while we're down here, then we'll head up and get our avionics on. So, once again, we are a slant alpha, no GPS for today's flight. Got COM1, COM2, NAV1, NAV2, and a DME. I will use the DME, so we'll turn that on. This is liveatc.net's real-life current ATIS from Bradley. And because we're running with live weather, we can set the altimeter based on the real-life ATIS's altimeter.
Altimeter 3019. Runway 6 and 33 in use. Expect ILS approach. Notice to air missions.
We'll do a quick check versus field elevation for Robertson Field, and it matches, so that's good. Alright, open up for flight and take you through the flight brief. So you can see we have an air mat for icing from surface to 6,000, something to keep an eye on for this flight. Zooming into Robertson Field, the winds are currently calm with a 5-point spread from temp and dew point. If we click on TAF, we can see that the ceilings will descend to scattered 5,000, broken 10,000 by 2 p.m. And if we look at the nearby airports to the northeast, those green boxes are the ceilings. That's 5,000 at Bradley, we've got 5,000 again. As we head further south, though, the ceilings get higher, so we've got skies clear. The TAF shows broken 25,000 for the ceilings. If I tap on the weather for Montauk, you can see that we've got a 7-point spread for temp and dew point, which is good, and we've got broken 25,000 with few 5,000. So I would like to fly at 5,500, ceilings permitting for this trip, because I've got to cross the water. If I drop a ruler here, I've got about 9 miles, so I need to be able to glide half of that to get back to either shore. 4.5 miles using 1.5 mile per 1,000 feet means I need to be at least at 3,000 feet. So 3,500 would work, but 5,500 would give me more breathing room. Alright, heading back to Robertson Field on departure, we're going to fly southeast, and this is a little easier in satellite view. We have the intersection of 2 routes, which is 9 and 5, that will make a nice X that I can spot from the air, so that's our first waypoint. Our second waypoint will be when we cross the Connecticut River here at Portland. Then we're going to change direction and follow the river, basically southeast. So we're going to follow the river, crossing across it. We'll come to Haddam Neck. Then we've got a nice visual, which is a Goodspeed Airport here right along the shore. So that'll be our third waypoint. It's actually nestled between airports. The other one is Chester here. off to the left-hand side. Now we're continuing to follow Route 9 and the Connecticut River until we come to a bridge here. Then we're going to fly directly to the Hampton VOR. Our next waypoint will be Truman Beach here. That's where we'll make landfall. Then we'll overfly Shelter Island and go to the HTO VOR, so East Hampton VOR, and then change direction and follow the coastline heading towards Montauk. You can see there's a delta there, East Hampton town. That goes up to 2,000, but we're at 5,500 or 3,500, so we don't need to worry about that. We'll be over their airspace. We've got a nice bay here. That'll be our next waypoint. And then finally, we've got Montauk. So from the bay to Montauk, that's 8.4 miles. We have to descend 4,500. Rule of thumb is multiply that by 3 to figure out top of descent. So it's like 14 miles out. So basically, right after reaching the VOR, we're going to start our descent. Current winds would put us on runway 6, which is left traffic, which would take us north of the field. We're arriving south of the field. If you go into foreflight, you can bring up the standard pattern entry, which would be to cross midfield, do a teardrop turn, enter on the 45 for the downwind. However, that'll take me way out over the water at pattern altitude, which I'm not a fan of. I also prefer not to do straight ins. So if there's no traffic there, I'll do something more sensible like entering the upwind, the crosswind, the downwind, the base, and then landing. Alright, I think we're ready to taxi. Make sure our taxi light's on. Everything looks good down here. We'll check that we're clear and make our CTAF call. Robertson traffic, Cessna 565 Whiskey, taxi from the ramp to runway 20, hold short, Robertson. Test my brakes. The brakes work. Clear in my right, so we're going to turn right here, pick up the taxi line, and taxi down to 20 to do our run-up right at the hold short line. This is an awesome freeware field. I'm just amazed by the quality of many of the freeware airports that you can find on flightsim.to. I mean, this is really a payware quality airport, so congratulations and awesome job to the author. So as we're taxiing, I'll give you an update on my real-life flight lessons. So you probably remember me talking non-stop about prepping for my check ride, and then I shut up about it. You haven't heard me talk about it for about 2 months now. And the reason is I got right to the point where I was about to move forward for my check ride, and everything was buttoned up, and I had a medical issue. So I had to hit the pause button on flying. I've got some minor surgery coming up in January to fix it. And once I get past that, I should be good to fly again, but it sucked. It sucked to get right to the point where my CFI said, I think you're ready, and I had to say, I've got something to tell you. So it's a setback, but it's one that hopefully beginning of February I'll be in the air again. Alright, so we're going to come up here to the hold short lines, stop, and we'll do a quick run up. We're running with the JPLogistics mod, so it's important to do a run up to make sure that nothing breaks. So we'll start with elevator up, elevator down, rudder left, rudder right, left aileron down, right aileron down. Those all look good. We've got RPMs up to 1700, we've got mag left, you can see and hear the drop, back to both. Mag right, you can see and hear the drop, back to both. We've got a carbureted engine, so we'll check carbeat out, and I've got the drop, carbeat back in, and it goes back up. We get our strobes and landing light on, our transponder to mode C. That all looks good. Next we'll do our CTAF call. Robertson Field traffic, Cessna 565 Whiskey, departing runway 20, we'll be doing a left crosswind departure to the southeast, climbing to 5,500 Robertson Field. Alright, you can see some of those clouds there off to our left. Remember, to the northeast we had clouds at about 5,000. See 20 on the runway, 20 on the compass, and on the directional. Full power. airspeed is alive. Coming up to 55 and rotate. Alright, that was a nice smooth takeoff, if I do say so myself. We've got liveatc.net screaming Bradley approach in the background. We'll contact them for flight following once we get to altitude. Off to the left here, look, there's some more custom modeling that came with this freeware airport. Nice touch. We've got Rex AccuSeasons giving us the late fall colors here, and I'm also running with the map mod, giving me ground textures. When it's colder out, you have a lower density altitude and better climb performance, and I was curious if the sim modeled that, and based on how well this climbed out here, I think it does. So we're turning onto our crosswind, and then from the crosswind we're going to roll right out onto our initial heading, which will take us over the mountains there that you can see. Bradley approach, Cessna 565 Whiskey, 3 miles southeast of Robertson for Bravo 8 at 2,500 feet. Request flight following, destination Montauk, Mike Tango Papa at 5,500. Squawk 2313 and ident, Cessna 565 Whiskey. Position checks 3019er, proceed on course, Cessna 565 Whiskey. Alright, we're looking great. Let's sit back and enjoy that awesome flight simulator scenery. Alright, that was a nice, fun, easy VFR flight. We had the Connecticut River to follow pretty much the entire flight, so it was pretty hard to get lost. I love flights like this that use pilotage to get you to where you're going. So I hope you enjoy realistic general aviation flying like this. If you do, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.